First of all, congratulations for making it to Sundance. Obviously, it's a huge deal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, for making India proud and for making the Marathi film industry proud because it is the first Marathi film to go into Sundance. So, huge congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So, first, tell us about what made you create this film in the first place.
So this film is actually a reimagination of grieving period that I experienced in my sister's village when my dad passed away. So basically, where it happened in 2016, and before that, almost for a decade, I had avoided going to the village because when I was in 10th, even at that time only everyone had started talking about marriage. अरे इसका भी 2 साल में marriage शादी करना पड़ेगा ये वो, and it was very irritating, and I didn't want to get into those conversations with any of them, so I had stopped going to the village. And uh, in 2013 I had come out to my father, so and he had accepted me easily. There was no drama at all. That's what you see in the film as well. That's
Hmm.
what when Anand
Yeah.
shares his coming out story with Baya. So it was exactly like that, and so he knew why I'm not getting married, and it was all okay. But when he passed away, my mother decided that we should go to the village because everyone is there, and they can come and meet us, and they can be part of the 10th day ritual. And I had to go. I couldn't escape that time. So, and I knew once I go there, ये अभी सब लोग पूछेंगे because I was 30 by then, and many of my cousins, they were married at 21 only. So by then they had like 3 4 kids. So when I went, and exactly the same thing started happening, and everyone who came to meet us, they would ask me about my marriage, and I was like, I can't answer and I can't lie. So I was just quiet like Anand. And I didn't want to come out because if I didn't know how it would be if I do that. And my mother needed them more because she's connected with them. Like she talks many of them continuously, throughout the day. So I didn't want to create any problem in that relation. So I had to just keep quiet and endure the pressure. But when I was there, I was like thinking, what if I had a friend over here, who knew about me? So I could just sneak out for a while and stay away from all the people inside the house and all that pressure. So that stayed with me. And so in a way, it gave me a chance to reimagine that whole period and make it a tender journey for this character.
Right. And it's also very interesting that, like you also mentioned in the clip, how there is a tragedy that is kind of engulfing your life. You are going through a grieving process, but at the same time, you are rekindling, estranged childhood friendships and relationships that could have happened earlier but did not. But this is a vulnerable period of time when you need some comfort and support from someone else who
Right.
understands you.
Right.
So that's why I think it's also very important that when people come with their own lived in experiences and tell a story to the world, it is much more authentic, like in your case. So
Yeah.
how important do you think it is for filmmakers to come forward and tell this authentic experience? Because human life itself is made of so many experiences and so many stories that we don't really need to look so much outside to come up with stories. So how do you think, like, if people are genuine with their storytelling from personal experiences, they can make really good films?
I mean, Ekto, what you said is actually what I also said today to someone. Sometimes you don't have to look outside. Sometimes you just look within. You'll find really great stories from your life or experiences. So, but I'm at the same time, I am not too sure if everyone can make really good film based on their own experiences. That completely depends. It's like, and also that everyone will not make film the way I wanted to make, which looks real, very real, and maybe someone would want to give a treatment like a Bollywood gives. So that also is possible, and and I think people sometimes should do that. Uh, Tell stories from their experiences because everyone's experience is different, and looking at those experiences and the world and the people is everyone's perspective is different, right? So if they will, even if like in a way, let's just take this story, the Sabar Bonda story. Some other filmmaker will make it completely differently. Maybe he or she will not have the friends wala section, or I don't know. Someone can just make it a story about the grief and dealing with the grief. So it depends, and that is why I think people should get chance to tell their stories, and I think we will have very diverse films and not that the films that we see on OTT and everything looks same, everything feels same.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that has started happening also. It's a matter of like quantity over quality
Yeah,
to a large
exactly,
extent, unfortunately.
exactly, exactly.
Um, but what really intrigued me about this story is that obviously we have been seeing a lot of LGBTQ stories in mainstream cinema also nowadays. But it's not every day that we get to see, stories coming from a rural setup or from, lower income population of the country. It's mostly upper class privileged people, urban young people whose representation we see in terms of the queer community. So, why do you think that is the case? And is it because of the stigma, or is it because people are find it easier to come out if they are in a privileged setup? So, what is your take on this whole thing?
See, I don't know why people are only situate these stories in the upper class or city. I have no answer for that. Uh, but and ऐसा भी नहीं है कि only in that class people are finding it easy to come out. I mean, I came out and I grew up in a very small one room house in a slum. So, and my parent accepted. I came out, and I know so many of my friends they came out. So ऐसा नहीं है. I mean, people in lower class strata also. I mean, they have that
Hmm.
they can open up to their parents. And I know a few guys from the village also, they are open to their family and they have accepted
That's
their
very nice to
kids.
hear.
So even there you see, that's what I'm saying. There are these positive stories, but and of course that's also the truth for some people, but we have always only been seeing that still, and that's why I thought, like, we need to see these other positive stories also. That's when you'll have that diversity also, and you will also change the narrative, because people with queer, when they think about queer film, they always think about tragedy and sadness and all that. But using some of the positive stories, we should uh, explore that side as well. And I think at least in short films, I have seen some filmmakers telling rural stories as well. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसमें भी किया नहीं. Maybe in terms of the feature, and specifically in Marathi, with this story, and where this character know about themselves, they are not questioning at all. So that kind of a story in Marathi, at least I'm thinking in feature film section. I mean, it's. But I hope that more and more people tell diverse stories if they are exploring queer narratives.
Yeah, I think also that has to do with where the filmmaker is coming from, because you come, like I said, you come with your own experiences from a particular environment that you have grown up with. So if we only have filmmakers who can cater to the urban audience or who come from an urban background, so that diversity is not being taken care
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
of. So it's great that such stories are coming through people like you and are getting on the global stage. That is a very, very important thing, I think. And speaking of the global stage, in fact, like obviously Indian films are getting a lot of recognition nowadays. I mean, obviously from last year, All We Imagine Is Light is the best example. Uh, but then I don't know how much of queer stories from the Indian cinema landscape has come
yeah,
abroad. Like in a way, I mean, like I don't know, Deepa Mehta's Fire, that got famous due to some other reasons, some controversial reasons back in the day.
yeah.
So obviously now we have a lot of good queer films coming up, but on the global stage, do you think there is enough representation yet, or we need to do better on that? Because there are a lot of diverse queer stories in India.
Yeah, I mean, I hope people do it, and if they do it, and of course, then we will have diverse queer stories coming out of India as well. But yeah, I mean, um, I and I am happy that people are, resonating with this story, reacting, and they're feeling something. So I'm happy it's happening with this film, and I hope that, more and more people come up with diverse stories. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think it will
I
change.
hope to see the same.
It will. At least when you go to Kashish, you see so many Indian filmmakers.
Hmm.
Maybe, all of them are not filmmakers, but they want to tell stories and they have stories. So they are really trying to explore filmmaking. So many people, and because of Kashish and many other queer film festivals in India, they are getting that chance to explore storytelling. So, and then people are doing it. So I'm hopeful that, even in like in recent time we will see some more stories.
Yeah. So do you think overall the kind of conception that people outside of India have about Indian films has kind of changed through the different kind, because obviously RRR is also something that is becoming famous, but then we also have other kinds of films that are not really of the commercial kind that are getting recognized. So do you think people are, getting a better idea of what the complete landscape of Indian cinema means, or because there are stereotypes, so do you think we are getting there slowly?
I think so, because of the film festivals and actually because of some platforms like some movie also. And I think people were watching. I mean, I don't think people were not. People were aware of some older filmmakers also who have shown their films internationally. So I don't think. But now,
Yeah.
because of some recent contemporary films, people are going to international platforms, and so people are aware of Indian films. It's not that they are not, but thankfully now we are getting more and more films out there on those platforms. So there is more visibility now, and because of that, and some of the films that went to Oscar recently, RRR, and also, because of that, it has provided that more attention. So the world is now looking at
Spotlight.
Indian films as well. And now at Cannes this year we had Payal's film, and then we had Girls Will Be Girls at Sundance, then we had Santosh in Cannes. So some of the Indian origin filmmakers
Yeah.
are also doing that. So and we had so many films at Cannes actually this year. There was like Midnight Sisters and many
Hmm.
films. So I think
Shameless.
Shameless, and even there was this film in Acid Section. I'm forgetting the name of that film. There was this another film in Acid Section that was the first Indian film to be selected in that section. So that In Retreat. So
Hmm.
it was that
Yeah.
was there. So many Indian in that sense, they were there telling Indian stories. So yeah, I think it is representing good films, and I think this should continue.
Yeah. But there's also another side of the same coin, which is, say the audience in India, for example. So there has kind of always been a demarcation between people who like art house films and people who like commercial films, and that line is slowly getting blurred, obviously, because in the era of the internet you have everything available, and also, social media and everything. There's always a discussion buzzing around about everything. So it's not like even people like me were just got into being cinephiles a few years ago or something. But now I see every other person aware of the films that they wouldn't talk about before. Okay, so for example, a Girls Will Be Girls that got a OTT release on Amazon Prime, which is mostly known for, more mainstream films. So then after the OTT release, everyone is watching and everyone is praising the film, and so this it's kind of bridging the gap between what people used to be fans of and what they would like to watch. So do you think this is a good thing, or like how is it drawing in the mainstream audience? So do you also expect that for a film like yours?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt, people would like to watch good cinema if it is available to them, and now it is available. It's becoming available to them, and that's why they are watching. Earlier, and art film ke naam pe people have this thought that they are boring, but I think not all art films are good art films also. So
That's true.
and see, many commercial films also are bad films, and then people like don't want to watch them. So as an if you make a really good film, even if it's slow, whatever it is, and if it's good, it holds viewers' attention and it has that emotional power. I think people watch it. I don't think people don't watch it. And now, like when Fandry came out, people were calling it that also art film, but the theaters were houseful. Like
Hmm.
both the time I saw that film in theater, it was houseful on weekdays. So if you make a really nice film, it doesn't. I don't think it matters. It's a art house film or what, people will watch it.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, very well said. So, yeah, Fandry is an absolutely beautiful film. I watched Sarat first and
Acha,
Fandry later,
right.
but then I got the hang of the kind of films Nagraj Manjula makes.
Like for that
So
matter, when
yeah,
Disciple
so
also came on,
that's pretty much. Hmm.
Disciple also came on Netflix. People watched it, no? Like people also
Yes,
consider that
definitely.
art house, but so many people watched it because it was available. They could watch it.
Yeah,
So, and even when court released,
yeah,
many people went to the theater and saw it. So I think if we can
yeah,
make films available to audience, I think they will come and watch it. And uh, I think we that should continue. All the independent films should get that chance to come in front of the audience, so
definitely.
that we can really see that the audience really loves this new, films that always show them a different perspective, or films that are told differently and explore different narrative styles. So I think it should happen more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you want to add something from your side, or tell something to the audience about your film that we did not cover, or whatever you want?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I really don't know if I should say anything. I mean, you should. You have watched the films, and I would love to
Yes.
know what you feel, because that's more because I made it for audience as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
audience
yeah.
also should. I'm sure they all have must have had some experience. So through that, if they have any question want to ask, I would love to know that.
Yeah, I uh, I would yeah, I would ask some question, but I don't want to like reveal too much. What really touched me was the parallel track that was going on between the relationship with the family and his kind of newfound love, you know, and uh, the both these tracks were very like they had a very emotional core in their own right. It's not like they weren't overlapping, but because there was a conflict between what he was experiencing in his romantic life and also what he was experiencing while grieving his father. But it all kind of came together and had a very beautiful ending, which obviously I won't reveal. So I think that was the most beautiful part for me, and I would love to watch it again when it gets a proper release. But for now, I hope it goes to many more festivals. It's already off to a great start. So wish you all the best for that. And
Thank you.
so it's
Thank you.
in the World
World Cinema
Cinema Dramatic
Dramatic Competition.
Competition. Okay, so wish you all the best for the
Thank you.
competition as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for your time. It was
Same
great
here. Thank
talking
you.
to you,
Thank
Rohan.
you.